Alright guys, I think we're at part 11 on the CD collection. We're still in the A's. I think I have one more video of the A's after this one, and then we'll move on to the B section. So just getting into it. First up, we have Atheist with Jupiter. Usually I'm not the biggest fan of digipacks, but this one I dig. I like the kind of flashy artwork on that. It's kind of got this textured feeling on the actual cover as well. So I don't hate this digipack as much as I hate some others. This is a pretty good album. On top of that, I still have the sticker and stuff that came with this. I believe I got this in a Season of Mist grab bag at one point. This is the only album that I own from them. I need to get on the ball and pick up some more of their material. Just kind of jazzy, technical death metal that's just done absolutely right. Just really good stuff there. Next up, we have Athlos with In the Shroud of Legendary Hellenic Myths of Gods and Heroes. This is I guess an epic folk metal band out of Greece. Pretty good stuff. I haven't listened to this one in a while, but I really dig this one. I got this, it's been a while ago now. I believe I got this from, it was either Red Stream or Metallic Media that I ordered this particular album from. Pretty good. Folky, very folky. As you can see, just from that, you kind of have that mythical, ancient Greek mythology and stuff going on in that, so it's pretty good. Sticking with bands out of Greece, this is a black metal project called Athos. This is an album entitled Crossing the River of Charon. Pretty good. Pretty run-of-the-mill black metal. I mean, there's nothing new going on this, but it was a pretty good listen. I have not listened to this one in quite some time, but for what it is, it's pretty good. I mean, if you're in the mood for straightforward, traditional sounding black metal, this will definitely suffice. Good stuff. Next up, we have At Radagast Gates with Reflection of a Lunar Eclipse in the Stained Mirror of Time. Very long album title there. I love the artwork on this. This was one of the first albums that I ever got from Horror, Pain, Gore, Death Productions. This was supposed to be a 3-album concept story. This came out, I think, in 2014, and they have not released any more since this, unfortunately. I think there were supposed to be 3 full lengths, so hopefully, maybe someday in the future, they will release follow-ups to this. But it's pretty good melodic style of black and death metal. But for what it is, it's good. I think they're out of Serbia, of all places, but I'm not 100% on that. I wish they would do the follow-ups to that release, though. Next up, we have some atmospheric black metal. We have Atra Vatosis. This is their I believe this was their debut EP, A Palace Shrouded in Emptiness. Fantastic stuff here. I love everything that I've heard from this project. I only have 2 EPs of their material in my collection. I don't have any of their full lengths, which is unfortunate because I really dig everything that they've put out that I've heard. So just atmospheric black metal. It's the only way I know to describe it. Good stuff there. I don't know why that was in one of those I think I ordered that from Ominous Domain, and they tend to put theirs. Then we have my favorite release from Atra Vatosis. This is Ayus Vitae Nekisk. Yeah. It's in this slipcase. This was actually my introduction to Atra Vatosis, and I was drawn in by that artwork. I think I actually heard this on a YouTube stream, or like a YouTube. They had a full EP stream going, and that's what drew me into this project. I purchased this EP shortly after, and kind of living off the hype of this EP, I think that's the reason why I haven't sought out and purchased their other material, just because when I want to listen to them, I tend to gravitate towards this EP because it is that good. Next up, we have some I guess melodic blackened death metal, some more melodic blackened death metal. This is Atrahora with Via Combusta. This is a band out of Russia. As we go through these videos, you will see that I have an insane amount of Russian projects in my collection. I don't know why that is, but there's just so many albums in my collection that the projects are out of Russia. This one's pretty good. I got this in I think like a 40 CD mystery box from Metallic Media back when they were still around. And this was one of the standouts of that. I really dug that one when I first heard it. Haven't listened to that one in a while, though. Probably need to rectify that at some point in the future. This next album, this is, I guess, EP. This is a debut EP from this project. This has been in my collection. This came out last year. I bought this from Transcending Obscurity Records. They had a bundle going. I wanted the new Death Courier album, and they had this bundled with it. It was cheaper if you bought the 2 CDs, so I got this. It sat on my shelf forever before I actually gave it a listen, which is super unfortunate because this blew me away, and had I listened to it and gotten into it a bit more, I'm pretty positive this would have hit my end of the year list last year because it is that good. And it's sad when you sleep on albums that are in your possession. This is Atra Vatosis with a Divinity. Yeah, try saying that 5 times. This one, they kind of went flashy with the digipack, but it seems like the colors kind of fell flat on that. The music on this, absolutely phenomenal death metal. I wish I would have given this the time that it deserved before the end of the year. One thing I will say about Transcending Obscurity is they do a lot of digipacks, but they try their best to go all out on the packaging. They don't cheap out. I can dig digipacks when the packaging is done just right, but that was a stellar release from Atra Vatosis. I believe that's how you pronounce that. I'm going to use that plastic digi kind of cover that the other album, the jewel case, was in to protect this one. So I guess that all worked out. Next up, this is an album that was on my end of the year list this past year. This is Atra Vatosis with Stygian. Fantastic, epic Funeral Doom release from $20 spin this year. This CD just feels heavy. I mean, it's super heavy, and it will crush the soul right out of you. But just the weight of the packaging on this jewel case, you know what you're into. Between the artwork and lifting this up, you know you're in for something special when you pick that one up. Next up, we have some doomy, almost like a death rock, if that makes any sense, out of Portland. This is Atriarch with Dead as Truth. I know a lot of people got this album recently in the newest round of Relapse Records grab bags. Pretty good stuff. A little bit better than I was expecting it to be. Upon prior to listening to it, I wasn't expecting just a whole lot out of it, but it exceeded my expectations, so it definitely has a rightful spot on the collection shelf now. Next up, this is a bootleg. This is Atrophy with Violent by Nature. This original press of this is pretty hard to find, and if you find it, it is very expensive. I ordered this from Russia. I knew what I was getting into when I ordered this. It's not like I tried to order an original press and got stuck with a bootleg. It is a very well put together bootleg. Some of these bootleggers and stuff are getting insane with the way that they're able to duplicate some of this stuff. I mean, and the seller was selling it as an unofficial, so I'm not knocking the seller or anything. One dead giveaway, especially on these older albums, if you're thinking you might be purchasing a bootleg, I mean, that artwork, that's way too crisp and pristine, especially the booklet. If you have a question, you open it up and you got this shiny booklet that's supposed to be 20, 30 years old, then you know there's a pretty good chance that you have a bootleg there. Next up, we have some Doom. This is some straight up Black Sabbath worship. That is completely fine with me because these guys do it so well. This is Atala with their self-titled. I believe I got this in a Hell's Headbangers. It was either when they had like the dollar CDs or $3 CDs or one of the 10 for 50 or that type of stuff going on. I know I got it in a bulk purchase from House of Headbangers sometime in the past, and it was a very nice purchase. I'm pretty pleased with myself for having picked this one up. If you're into that Sabbath sounding, there's so many bands that are just Sabbath worship right now. I mean, that's fine with me because they perform it well. They put their own little spin on it, and it's a pretty good album there. Next up, we have one of those I've talked about in previous videos where I was getting the into kind of face down records there for a while. This is some Christian kind of post rock. This is Atlas with Into the Sea. This is the only release that I picked up from Atlas, but I really dig this one quite a bit. Have not listened to it in far too long. It's in face down's pretty bad about doing these little cheap digipacks as well. That just seems to be the way of the world these days, is how CDs are going, but not much going on the disc. I have it upside down, but you kind of get the idea. Try to get that back in there without scratching it up. But yeah, good kind of post-rock, atmospheric type rock stuff going on there. Next up, we have Attica 7 with Blood of My Enemies. This features Campus from Soulfly, from Static X, or Campos, however you want to say his last name. Another one that's in just a terrible kind of digipack there. With Soulfly, Biohazard, one of the members used to be in Biohazard, Static X. You kind of know what you're getting into with this. It has that kind of new metalish, commercial kind of metal, commercial hard rock feel going on. It's not bad. I got this from Hastings when they were going out, and I mean, I'm not hating on it. I mean, if you're into that kind of commercialized sound, you might dig this. It's not something I'm going to listen to every day, but I mean, for what it is a pretty good release. Next up, I have no idea how I got this one. This is Audioslave with Out of Exile. I don't even know if I've ever even listened to this album, to be honest. I don't know how it got in my collection. I don't know where it came from. I've heard of Audioslave, obviously, but I don't know if I've listened to this particular album in its entirety. There are some tracks on here that I know I've heard before, but honestly, I don't remember picking this up, and I don't know how it got in the collection. So that's weird. But move these over, and I got one more stack. Next up, we have some atmospheric black metal out of Iceland. This is it's spelled A-U-D-N. I believe it's pronounced Audn, and this is self-titled. I remember picking this one up pretty early on when I had first started this channel. I remember showing this when I first, pretty early on in the early stages of this channel. It may be one of those videos that's on private now because they were terrible, and I don't want other people going back and watching me stumble over stuff worse than I do now. I got this from Metallic Media. I think this was like $5 at the time. I think now it's become kind of hard to get a hold of. People have been spending $30, $40, $50 just to get a copy of this. Very good stuff there. I've always been a fan of that band. Next up, we have their second full length. This one, I guess, Season of Mist took notice after that self-titled debut. I'm not going to try to say, I don't speak Icelandic. I'm not going to try to pronounce that album title. This one's pretty good. I do like the self-titled a bit more. I like the artwork on this one. I like the color scheme to this, but all of their artworks are kind of similar, just different color schemes. This one had a little bit of a crack on the jewel case, but I didn't think it was bad enough to change out the case. And then last from Audn, we have their newest release. This came out last year on Season of Mist, and I'm definitely not going to try to pronounce that album title because it's like 15 letters. And as I said, I do not speak Icelandic. If I was to try, it would probably just sound like I was choking. So, but I do like that one. This is probably my second favorite behind the debut. Next up, this is an album that I was way into several years back. I was listening to this album all the time. This is some Canadian progressive death metal, very technical progressive death metal. There's some atmospherics going on in this at times. This is Augury with Fragmentary Evidence. This is the only album that I own from the band, which is crazy from how much that I used to listen to this album. But I really dig this. This came out in 2009 on Nuclear Blast, and so I guess it's been probably 10 years or so. Time flies, but I used to be super into this album, and I need to pull that one off the shelf. Probably have some nostalgia moments listening to that. Next up, we have some dark ambient. This is Aura Negative with the self-titled release. It is dark ambient, not just much more going on that. I got this from Redstream. It was a blind buy purchase. I actually thought I was purchasing some black metal from the eBay description, like title, and I got some dark ambient. I've listened to it a couple times. Not something that I'm in the mood for all the time. Dark ambient it can be some. I mean, I could fall asleep to that, I guess. I don't know. Next up, we have some Aurora Borealis. This one is entitled Timeline: The Beginning and End of Everything. This is some black and death metal out of Maryland. I keep telling myself that I'm going to pick up more material from this project. I only have 2 releases from them. This one's pretty good. The next one that I'm going to show is probably my favorite from the band that I've heard, and you can get the material on eBay, and they sell it straight from the band, and they sell it pretty cheap. And I keep telling myself that I'm going to pick it up, and I always find other things that I'd rather have instead. So maybe one of these days I'll get on that. This is their release that is probably my personal favorite. This one is entitled World Shapers. This was the one that I actually sought out to pick up. I heard this. I think I heard this through a YouTube, maybe a YouTube stream or something. I don't remember how I was initially introduced to this, but I really dug the YouTube stream that I heard of this, and then next thing I know, I'm hunting it down, and here it is in my collection. So. Next up is a band that's pretty close to home. They're from right outside of Memphis. This is Otolith with Caustic Light. This was an EP that was released last year. Just kind of sludgy, hardcore type stuff. I have honestly not seen this band live, which is tragic considering they're from Memphis, which is like an hour and a half from me. Not a whole lot going on the disc there. But if you're into the kind of sludgy hardcore, not much going on that inside. If you think like a metallic hardcore with a kind of sludge metal undertone is something you would be into, definitely go check out Autopsy. The next few are from the same band. First up, we have just a classic album. This is Autopsy with Severed Survival. Don't have to speak too much on this one. It is a 2-disc reissue, obviously, because it has the reissue artwork. I know some people were upset about that because they love that original artwork. It has the booklet in here with the original artwork on it. There's the back. It has the bonus disc that has like some rehearsal tracks and some other stuff going on that, which is pretty good. I like having that little extra stuff. There it has the booklet with the original type artwork going on. But I was pretty impressed. I think they did a good job. Peacefield did a good job with that re-release. Next up is a compilation from Autopsy. This one's Torn from the Grave. I'm not really big on compilations, especially when it almost feels like a greatest hits, but I was severely lacking with Autopsy material in the collection, so this one I went ahead and bit the bullet and got. I caught it on an auction for next to nothing, so I went ahead and pulled the trigger on it. It has this kind of fold out digipack. I think the gist of this whole collection video series is going to be me complaining about digipacks. But there we go. Unfortunately, the thing came unglued on the inside. It didn't tear up anything when it came off, so that's a plus. At some point, I may get the courage to go ahead and glue that back in. It just has not happened yet. Then we have, this is probably my second favorite Autopsy outside of Severed Survival. This one is the Headless Ritual. I really enjoyed this one when I first heard it. I know it kind of was met with mixed reviews. There were some people that definitely did not enjoy it as much as I did. But I was blown away by this. This is what kind of made me get into Autopsy. I had to start backtracking, listening to their material once this came out, because I was drawn in by that artwork, and then I was like, man, what have I been missing out on all these years? Then we have Tourniquets, Hacksaws, and Graves. I believe this is the newest full length. They put out some EP and other material since this, but this is the last full length. Good stuff. I mean, what can I say? You know what you're getting into. If you're watching this channel, you know who Autopsy are. You know what you're getting into. I just realized that this jewel case had a crack over here, of all places, so I'll probably be fixing that after this video. It's weird how cracks in some places on the cases bother me, and sometimes they don't on others. Next up, we have some goth, kind of atmospheric goth rock, if that makes any sense. I got these from, I've mentioned them a couple times already, the Metal Blade CD lots that were going so cheap. This band is called Audn, and the name of this particular release is My New Time. This one's okay. The one that I'm going to show next is leaps and bounds ahead of this one. But for what this is pretty good. Atmospheric, gothy rock. And then this next one is the one that I really adore this release. This is Altitude by Audn. It's been far too long since I've given this one a spin as well, but this is one that definitely I don't see leaving the collection anytime. Let me turn that disc around. There we go. And then the last one for this video, this is the Autumn League with a concept of irony. This is Christian atmospheric black, atmospheric death. I guess black and death. If you can, I guess white. I don't know how you would. I don't know how you would describe that. And I mean, it's atmospheric black and death metal with Christian themes. Pretty good stuff. I was super high on this release when it came out in 2014. Does not feel like it's been out that long, and it's kind of stuck the test of time with me. I mean, it's one that I can still turn to and throw in and enjoy it just as much now as I did back in 2014. So there we go. That's all for number 11. I will try to have the next video up pretty soon, and we will get through all of the A's. So until next time, stay classy.